Welcome to the Adjunct CEO Show. Our mission is to help CEOs and business startups succeed in today's marketplace. Whether you're an entrepreneur or an established CEO, is your business growing? Where's your business going? Let's talk now with Adjunct CEO Dean Akers and your host, Johnny Torres. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Adjunct CEO Show with our Adjunct CEO, Dean Akers. You can find him online at adjunctceo.com. That's adjunctceo.com. And for those businesses out there struggling, needing a little bit of help, all you got to do is email us. Help at adjunctceo.com. Help at adjunctceo.com. Our mission here is to help your business, whether it be a startup, whether it be an established company, grow, succeed, and adapt to today's business marketplace. And we hope that by the end of the show, you get one little nugget of information that's going to help you grow your business, succeed in your line of work, in your industry, and something you can implement tomorrow, right? So joining me as always, head coach Dean Akers. I know, we were just talking about it, and it was front of mind, and I was like, because to me, you're still the head coach.
I'm the head coach. In fact, I'm more of a head coach than I even sometimes think. I've got, our last show we did the CEO physical. We offered that free. And if somebody takes all the way through, it's a $10,000 value. I got 2 people I'm doing the CEO physical this right now for. And
that's awesome.
It's really interesting. One of them called me up all freaked out about how they had been selling out of trust. Do you know what out of trust is?
No.
It's when you sell something, you take the money, but the inventory was assigned to a bank or something, and then you forget to kind of pay down the bank. Well, I've done workouts in that space, but I'm helping them. We're doing a full physical, got their balance sheet and everything. So doing it for free and, to help them out.
Sure.
But at any rate, the physical we've got a lot of emails on it, and so that's still available. Anybody want to do it?
Yeah, and in case you're curious about the CEO Physical, again, it is it's a worksheet. It's a little bit of a process that Dean has created here to really get a temperature where your business is at, where the opportunities lie, where you're kind of missing the mark, and Dean does it absolutely free for those of you who visit adjunctceo.com. That's adjunctceo.com, and if you can't find it, or you have a question about it, again, just email us, help at adjunctceo.com. Well, we've got a very special guest and somebody who I've actually wanted to meet for a long time because, you can't drive, I think, more than a few miles around Tampa without seeing one of his trucks. But joining us today is Nick Friedman, owner, founder, right, of College Hunks hauling junk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, great to finally meet you. I've lived here in Tampa Bay for 13 years now, and you guys just exploded onto the scene, or at least, that's the usual story, right? It's like, the overnight success was never really overnight.
Right. Absolutely. 10 years in the making.
But man, I'm so excited to be able to kind of dig into your story. So thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you guys for having me. This is really cool. Really cool what you guys are doing here.
Yeah. And again, Dean and I, now go back a couple of years. And, he's always spoken incredibly highly of you and what you guys have been doing here in the community. And so, you still look like you're about college age. So I
got to keep up with the image, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so let's go ahead and start there. Like, what's your origin story?
Yeah, well, my buddy and I from high school, Omar Solomon, our co-founder, he and I met in 10th grade, and we were always brought up to follow that more traditional career path. You work hard in school, you get good grades, you get a college degree, you climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And it was the summer before our senior year of college. His mom had this beat-up cargo van from her furniture store, and she said, hey, why don't you go do something with the van, make some money, don't just sit around the house all summer. So we came up with the name College Hunks Hauling Junk. We thought it was just a catchy way to make the phone ring.
Yeah.
And sure enough, people had a need for the service. They thought the name was catchy. Went back to school our senior year and wrote a business plan, which ended up winning first prize at about 150 entries in an entrepreneurship competition. So that gave us a little more confidence in the idea. And then after college, we actually got corporate jobs for a brief period of time.
Now, was that here at USF, by the way?
No, actually.
Oh, okay.
We grew up in Washington, D.C., in the D.C. area.
Oh, wow.
So we originally launched the business up there.
Interesting.
And when we first started, we were doing all the work ourselves. I always tell the story about how we were driving the trucks, answering the phone, hauling the junk. and we had the 800 number routed to our cell phones, and people would call the 800 number on the back of the truck to complain about the erratic driving, and I'd be the one in the driver's seat answering the phone, apologizing on the other end, letting them know.
We're going to fire him.
Yeah, we don't condone that driving in our company. We'll talk to those guys when they get back to the office. So probably fired ourselves about 3 or 4 times that first summer because, we didn't know anything what there was to know about business. We were doing it all ourselves.
Wow. Well, and then again, that's a very common story, right? Where you're wearing all the hats.
Yes.
And you're juggling and you're just trying to make it to the end of the day, and then you wake up the next day and do it all over again. And so, you talk about the name, really being catchy. And I got to say, it's even more so, I think, well known now that, especially on the marketing side, you want to go after the woman in the equation, right? The mother or the wife or, the girlfriend, so did that play into it at all?
So originally that wasn't really a factor for us, but what we learned after getting into business for a few months is that the female is the household decision maker 85% of the time when it comes to home services. And, whether it's the landscaping, the drapes, whatever, the hauling junk or the moving. Yeah. And so our name, while it's playful and catchy, kind of tongue in cheek, it also creates a level of trust because you're letting a complete stranger come into your house. Right. So you need somebody that's going to be trustworthy, collegiate, clean cut, friendly. And so there was sort of a pattern interrupt because with our name and imagery wasn't really what people typically associated with junk haulers and movers. And so we felt like it could help create a little bit of differentiation from a attention-getting branding perspective. Yeah. And then B, once we put a focus on the service experience, it could create the loyalty and the repeat business and the referral business that's so critical in any company, but in the service business especially as well.
Well, and the name doesn't sound so corporate and uptight and kind of, you have all these legacy moving companies, or even the ones that rent out their vehicles and stuff. And, they're fine, but they've been around for a long time. And nowadays I see, and it was actually one of the reasons we called the Condo Coaches what we did, because we wanted something that was kind of relatable and approachable. And, and so, that nowadays certainly is more of a trend where they're trying to go with brands that people, can remember easily and that are going to automatically get some sort of a vibe from, sort of an impression from.
And I think what stood out for us is, in our story, we didn't invent the new Facebook or the next Google or Snapchat. Yeah. We took something very traditional, trucks and labor. And so that we did get a lot of raised eyebrows when we told people we were quitting our jobs after college to start the business. They were like, you're going to quit your job to do what? Haul junk? And the company's going to be called what? College Hunks? Are you throwing away your college degree to start a trash business? Is that really what you're doing? But I think in our minds, we had this vision of a brand, and we didn't want to just be two local guys in a truck driving around, although that's how it started. Yeah. We envisioned and aspired to become a national brand, and obviously that's what we are today with over 100 franchises around the country. But but it was the idea of putting a creative, colorful wrapper on the outside, that brand image, and then, like I said, an intentional focus on not only the customer experience, but also the employee experience as well. That's been sort of, I think, the secret to our success over time.
So you mentioned something really interesting because I deal with it every day. And I'm dealing with a lot of young people that are transitioning out of colleges and stuff, and their parents and even their guidance counselors are really focusing them on a job. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there going, follow your passion. And so you were probably getting the same, what are you thinking? Right. And the reality is you had enough guts to get outside the box of what everybody was telling you to make this jump. But do you think a lot of folks have those guts? Or
well, it's interesting you mentioned the word passion, because when I think about that too, it's not like Omar and I were passionate about junk hauling, right? We weren't passionate about throwing stuff away or moving people's furniture, but we were passionate about the creative process, about doing things kind of on our own time, our own terms, and got a lot of energy and drive out of trying to create something out of something that didn't exist previously. And in hindsight, at the time we were young, we didn't have a lot of responsibilities. So in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, well, worst case scenario, if this doesn't work, I'll go back and, use this as a learning tool to get a job somewhere else, or I'll go back to graduate school, get a business degree, and kind of follow that more traditional career path. So in my mind, I always had sort of worst case scenario, I could accept that. And best case scenario, we could create sort of the business of our vision and create some freedom, both financially and personally, and fulfillment level that long term could, define our careers as adults. And so that's ultimately what we pursued. And so I think a lot of people allow the fear to prevent them from taking that step or from taking that risk. And it's not easy, right? If it were, everybody would do it. If it were, everybody would be billionaires.
Sure.
But it is fulfilling and it's an adventure, no doubt. And so looking at it that way and being able to accept if it doesn't work out, I think was how we wrapped our heads around it.
I got to ask you another question then, because I've got a couple of my young, I call them ninjas, that are doing what you did. And I got one today I was on the phone with before I got here, and he works as a day job, 20-something years old. Now he's pushing out his Instagram. He's got tons of followers. He's got videos with thousands of views now, and he's starting to get legs. He has his first product being launched that he bought overseas. But when I met him, his mom was telling me he can't figure it out. And was it really that big a risk? Or I guess what I'm trying to ask is, I have so many people I try to help that the filters other people are putting on them create bigger scenarios of failure than that would ever really happen.
Sure.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Well, hang on. We're going to use that as a teaser for the next segment because we got to wrap this one up. Again, we've got Nick Friedman here from College Hunks Hauling Junk, our adjunct CEO, Dean Akers, as always. And if you want to learn more about the program and the CEO Physical, visit us on our website, adjunctceo.com. That's adjunctceo.com, or email us help@adjunctceo.com, or with Nick Friedman, Dean Akers, when we come back. The Adjunct CEO Show will be right back.
So, you're a tech startup. You're working hard, trying to make it happen with big ideas, big dreams, and a small budget. You need to connect with people in the same boat. Now is the time to join the early stage startup group, the Innovation Center, an incubator for early stage tech firms. You can find them at tbinnovates.com. Now operating for over 14 years, the Innovation Center is a regional, national, and internationally known success story, continuing to generate momentum in Pinellas County. Twice, the Innovation Center has won the Tampa Bay Technology Forum's Excellence in Service Award and has been recognized by Entrepreneur.com as a top 10 international business incubator. And now, Tech Garage, a technology and entrepreneurship center, has joined forces with the Innovation Center to provide a co-working program in downtown St. Petersburg. Connect with the startup community. Connect with the Innovation Center. Go to tbinnovates.com. That's tbinnovates.com. And tell them the Adjunct CEO sent you.
If you're a CEO or organizational leader looking to expand your business, join the CEO Council, where you'll meet and exchange ideas with fellow CEOs without the pressures of a sales network environment. You can join today by sending an email to application@adjunctceo.com. The CEO Council is comprised of over 220 fantastic local business leaders you'll be able to learn from because they walk in your shoes every day. When you become a member of the CEO Council, you'll have an opportunity to build trusted relationships during the roundtable meetings, share your triumphs, vet ideas, and work through business challenges with peers who can provide real-world business solutions. The CEO Council offers opportunities to hear from world-renowned speakers that inspire ideas to help members grow as both leaders and individuals. Join the CEO Council. Request your CEO Council membership application today at adjunctceo.com or by sending email to application@adjunctceo.com. That's application@adjunctceo.com.
Helping your business grow and succeed in today's marketplace. Let's get back to the Adjunct CEO Show. Welcome back to the Adjunct CEO Show. Again, adjunctceo.com is our website where we can help your business grow and succeed. We want to make sure, again, that by the end of this show, you got one little nugget that you can implement in your business tomorrow to help you grow and succeed, get your business going in the right direction, whether you be a CEO or whether you're just starting up your business out of your closet or your garage, whichever it may be. But with us, as always, is the Adjunct CEO, Dean Akers. And our guest today is a good friend of the show, is Nick Friedman. And then your founding partner is Omar Solomon. Want to make sure we mention him. But I'm sure that you've seen these trucks out there because you can't miss them. They are bright orange and green, and being a Canes fan, that's okay with me. So College Hunks Hauling Junk is the company, and its founder Nick Friedman joins us today. We wrapped up the last segment with a great question by Dean, and even we're talking a little bit about it offline. You want to kind of rephrase the question, kind of set it up a little bit again?
Well, you're living proof of taking the jump off the deep end. And my question is, as an entrepreneur advising people that might be listening to the radio, that the fear is generally greater than the reality, or is that true as far as the real downsides?
Yeah, well, certainly we were influenced. Some of our friends and colleagues and relatives were, raised eyebrows, kind of warning us against quitting our jobs to start basically a trash hauling and moving company. But we use that more as motivation, to be honest with you. We use it as, okay, well, we want to prove these guys wrong, and we want to make a success of ourselves, and kind of use that as fuel for the fire in our bellies. And of course, when we started, we were doing all the work ourselves. There was only so much that two of us could do in a single day. So it was fun at first, but we did start to burn out a little bit and realize, okay, well, if we're going to have another truck, let alone another location, how do we get past this kind of glass ceiling? And actually, one of our mentors recommended to us a book called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And it's really a classic entrepreneurship handbook that talks about working on the business, not in the business, and creating systems and processes for the business to scale. So that was the real first light bulb moment for me as a young entrepreneur, was if we're ever going to get off the truck, if we're ever going to have multiple locations around the country, we've got to have processes. So we just started creating checklists. How do we wear the uniform, drive the truck, market the business, greet the clients, answer the phone, enter the jobs into the books. And then as we started hiring people, we hired people that could also help us improve and evolve those systems and create the next layer and the next level of sort of moving the business forward. And so I think that was the key first lesson for us once we jumped into the fire, to realize, okay, if we're going to continue to build an actual business, not just a job for ourselves, where we're working for ourselves, that was the path that we had to take.
So from day one, sorry, Dean, but from day one, you guys had already envisioned that this would be a franchise?
So we envisioned that it was going to be a national brand. And actually, I really didn't know much about franchising or even the word entrepreneur until we started the business. People would come up to us when we tell them what we were doing. They're like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. And I'd scratch my head and I'd be like, oh, I guess that's what that word means. It was not something I'd learned in high school or college.
Wow.
And then when we read the book, The E-Myth, it talks about creating your business as if you could franchise it, even if you're not going to franchise it. And that was sort of like, okay, I started looking down this path of franchising, and it seemed like an interesting path for us to scale our brand across the country. And so we always envisioned trucks in every city across America, and franchising for us was the most logical path because we didn't have a lot of money or capital to go out and open up different locations. We didn't have a lot of people to go out and deploy, and we wanted to grow quickly. We were young and patient, kind of on the front end of that millennial generation, and so we wanted to grow quickly, and franchising was the path for us to do that. So now we've got over 100 franchise locations around the U.S., and of course we moved our headquarters down here to Tampa about 10 years ago from the D.C. area to set up a call center, because the D.C. area was high cost of living, cost of labor, cost of office space. Had heard great things about Tampa, and we've been here ever since. We love it here.
That's awesome. So
I want to interrupt because if the show got shut off right this second, he gave the ultimate tidbit to every a thriving or wanting to be entrepreneur, and it happens to be like two people in a church pew, saying amen, amen.
That's right.
The book that he recommended, I'm going to have him tell you one more time because I recommend it not highly. It's required reading for any entrepreneur I work with, and it's really cool because I remember you sharing that with me several years ago. But the book he's getting ready to recommend again, because this is a nugget today. If nothing else happened, if you're an entrepreneur or you're in business and you're at 30, 40 million and you haven't read this, you need to go straight to Barnes & Noble or Amazon online and order the book today. Go to the beach, read it. Am I right?
It is. I mean, the book Dean's talking about is one I mentioned called The E-Myth Revisited, the letter E, Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And it stands for the E-Myth is the idea, it's the entrepreneurial myth, is that if you're good at something, you go out and start a business at it and you'll enjoy it and be fulfilled and make a lot of money at it. Well, the problem is somebody that goes out and starts a sandwich shop spends all his time making sandwiches, he's working in the business as an employee of himself, and he can't be away from the business for it to make money. And the ultimate goal that the book talks about is you can go away for a year, and you come back and your business is bigger and more profitable than when you left it. And of course, we all talked about the notion that nothing happens overnight, and it's a function of time, persistence, patience, and getting great people. But yes, that book it's so simple the way it breaks it down, but it's really the key core of any business is systems, processes, and people, and that's how the business can scale. And so, as a business owner, entrepreneur, we wear many different hats, and sometimes we got to roll up our sleeves and do the physical work. But the goal ultimately is to be building your business by working on it as the entrepreneur above the forest and not in the trees getting bogged down. But it's a never-ending balance.
And it's worked for you.
It has. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't be where we were today if we didn't have that mindset.
And he and I were talking early in the show, and he and I've known each other a number of years, and he and I were talking, and he reminded me of his own reminder to not touch.
Yeah, the dials and the buttons. So we finally got to this place, 15 years into business, where we've got really great leadership team, really great people on helping to run every aspect of the business. So my role as the entrepreneur and the founder really at this point is more of the visionary to set the strategic direction, help maintain the company culture, be a cheerleader for the team, hold people accountable, but also provide resources and break down barriers for them. But there'll be from time to time where I'll swoop in and try to stick my finger in the soup and start asking questions, and I'm just kind of messing things up. So I have to have the discipline on myself as the founder to sort of maintain our cadence of meetings with my leadership team, bring up things. There's a time and a place for me to bring up issues or questions that I might have. But there's a saying that you don't want to be a seagull founder or owner where you're swooping in, pooping all over the place and then swooping back out, and your team is looking around like, what just happened? Who was that guy? Why did he just come in here? We're working on stuff here. We've got priorities mapped out. We've got our projects mapped out. So, letting go of the vine a little bit is critical to get to the next level. One of the things mantra we say to ourselves over the years is delegate and elevate. And that's, also how the business can grow as well.
And so from the time you started, so give us that year. So when you had the business plan and you officially launched in the DC area.
Yeah. So 03 was the business plan. 03 was the cargo van summer. 04 was the business plan victory. 05 we actually quit our jobs and started the business on a full scale. 08, we moved down to Tampa, started our call center, started franchising. Yeah. We were actually on one of our big breakthroughs was we were on the very first episode of the very first season of Shark Tank back in 2009, about 10 years ago. So that was pretty cool. And now today,
one of the few shows I still watch.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, but that's one of the shows I definitely watch.
That's a great one. It's amazing if families sit and watch that show because the kids can get into it. It's really done great just to shine the spotlight on entrepreneurship. So that was 08, 09, and the past 10 years feels like a blur, but today we've got over close to 200 employees here in Tampa, over 2,000 around the country, over 100 franchisees around the country. Just did over 100 million in revenue last year in our system-wide sales. So it's kind of hard to believe at this point that progression has taken place from just 15 years ago.
Well, and I was saying just before the show, I mean, it's like you guys are running out of places to stick the trucks, because
well, that's part of our branding strategy. I mean, one of our core values is always branding. I mean, we're in a very low barrier to entry industry. Anybody can go out and get a truck and put themselves in business to move people's stuff. And so, we strategized from the very beginning some of the guerrilla marketing tactics that we did in the early days when we didn't have a big marketing budget. We still use those tactics today, whether it's the bandit signs that sometimes annoy certain individuals, or it's parking the trucks in visible traffic areas so they look and act like a billboard. But it's all about that brand impression because, consumers have to be aware of something if they're going to, consider purchasing it.
Well, this is something that Dean and I have kind of almost mentioned almost every show off the air, which is that factor, right? Like the guy that sees Starbucks, but he's going to open up his own little coffee shop anyways, right? And again, you've got in your space, as you said, it's a very low barrier of entry. Plus, you've got these legacy companies that have been in the moving industry and junk industry for a long time. Did you guys even bother looking at any of that and saying, man, how are we going to compete against these guys?
Yes and no. Looked at it, but we felt like why can't we do it too? We felt like the industry's got to be big enough. And, it's like the analogy my dad used to tell me is, don't worry about the competition. Let them worry about you. It's like a fly landing on a whale and being like, this thing is mine.
Yeah.
It's a big whale. So it's a big industry, and every industry has competitors and competition. And so, we just felt like it was still very fragmented, and we had enough creativity from a branding perspective and from a service perspective that we felt we could create an organization that attracts great people and could build. And one of the other things that I'll mention that was a turning point for us was coming through the recession, because it was right around the time we moved down to Tampa, and the housing market tightened up, and it was like, let's go, let's make this thing work. And we learned a lot of lessons from that experience as well.
All right, well, we're having such a great time. I'm slacking on the clock. It's the Adjunct CEO Show. We'll be right back after this.
Helping CEOs and business startups. We'll be right back.
SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump is in Japan today. He spoke to U.S. and Japanese business leaders upon his arrival. In comments airing on the Fox News channel, the president said that the U.S. and Japan are what he called hard at work negotiating a bilateral trade agreement. He has complained about the trade gap, but he also says the relationship between the two countries has never been stronger. The National Memorial Day concert returns tomorrow night on the West Lawn of the U.S. Capitol here in Washington. The concert co-host and actor Joe Mantegna told the Salem Radio Network that the concert salutes the efforts of those who have fought and died for American freedoms. This year's lineup of performers, including R&B singer Patti LaBelle, bluegrass icon Alison Krauss, and country star Justin Moore as well. Mixed news on abortion this week. Missouri's governor signed a law to ban abortion after 8 weeks on Friday. A similar law was struck down in Mississippi. This is SRN News.
You had an idea. You found your passion, something you do better than anyone else. You made a plan, started down a path. You're on your way to your dream, and now you're risking it all to make it come true. And we're here to help. AM 1380, The Biz. We mean business.
Stuck in an expensive timeshare contract and feel like there's no way out?
I'm almost at $10,000 in 4 years. I've never traveled anywhere.
They made this sound that this would be a really good deal, that I could go anywhere, anytime I wanted to. That never worked out.
I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group. I've helped thousands of people get rid of their timeshares. I know all the tricks because I'm embarrassed to say I once worked in the timeshare industry. We've saved suffering timeshare owners millions in debt and maintenance fees. When you're approved as a client, I guarantee you a 100% success rate. We'll get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off of your back permanently.
I honestly would recommend that you call Wesley Financial. They will help you.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free information kit. If they can't get you out of your timeshare, you'll pay nothing. Call 800-220-5757. 800-220-5757. That's 800-220-5757.
Your teen's playing video games. Couple of hours pass. They're still playing. Time for them to find a summer job, right? Well, I have one for them that pays $50,000 an hour. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by SimpliSafe, the best security system for your home, period. Don't live in fear. Get yours at simplysafekim.com. Some big-name game publishers like Electronic Arts and Ubisoft are shelling out up to $50,000 an hour to people who will play their brand-new games before they're officially released. Why on earth would they do that? Simple economics. They need as many gamers as possible excited about something other than Fortnite, which is hitting publishers right in their magic satchel. The catch? You have to live stream while you play, and you also need a serious number of followers, rising to the level of professional gamer. Let me tell you, if this radio gig doesn't work out, I know what my next career is going to be. I'm Kim Commando.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 150 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll learn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text TECH to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates and why 87% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text TECH to 35517. That's TECH to 35517.
AM 1380, The Biz. We mean business. Here's your exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
Today will be hot with plenty of sunshine. Look for a high of 94. Tonight, clear and humid, low 72. Mostly sunny, hot and humid on Sunday, high 93. Sunday night, clear and humid, low 71. Warm and humid with sunshine on Monday. Expect a high of 94. Tuesday, sunshine, high 94. That's your exclusive AccuWeather forecast. I'm Chris Morelli for AM 1380 The Biz.
Helping you navigate today's marketplace and helping CEOs and business startups. Let's get back to the Adjunct CEO Show. Welcome back to the Adjunct CEO Show, looking to help you grow your business, save your business in some cases, right? Make sure that your business is on the right track. With Adjunct CEO Dean Akers, you can learn more about the Adjunct CEO at adjunctceo.com. Adjunctceo.com is our website. And now if you have a pressing question or issue that you need some help on, you can email us directly, help@adjunctceo.com, help@adjunctceo.com, even if it's about the show, even if it's a question for Nick, who's our guest today. We've got Nick Friedman, owner, founder of College Hunks, hauling junk, and of course our adjunct CEO Dean Akers, having a great conversation here about his story and how he's grown the successful company here. That I thought, again, you guys made such an impression when you came on the scene in here in Tampa Bay in 2010. I thought you guys had started here, but it's great that again you saw what Florida in Tampa Bay has to offer for businesses and decided to relocate here.
Absolutely. The way I describe Tampa is it's obviously got the small town comforts, but big city amenities. And the business community in particular is extremely welcoming and supportive. I mean, the accessibility, I think we met Dean when we were probably just a few years into our business down here, still kind of struggling to get our feet under us. And, he was obviously very established, very successful CEO and, kind of took us under his wing as a mentor. Didn't have to do that, probably didn't have a lot of time to spread around. But, guys like Dean and other folks around the community, I think, are just so supportive of the entrepreneurial efforts. And I don't think we would have gotten that type of accessibility up in the DC area just because it's so crowded and so much gridlock in general up there. So love Tampa. I think it was probably the best choice we made for our business was setting up our headquarters down here.
Awesome. Well, there's the plug for.
Well, I'd like to tell you that everybody that wants to help them just wants to help them, but they've got magnetic personalities, both he and Omar. And when I met him, I was like, wow, these guys have it going on. And I think you're still involved with John Sykes.
Yes. Yeah. John Sykes is also a great mentor of mine.
And John and I've talked about them over wine. Yeah. And we get to live vicariously through them because they are really rocking the Tampa Bay, actually the national scene. They've got some new products they've launched with, I think he's going to mention it, you're doing the trash business with Trash Butler, helping apartment communities and condo communities all across the country. But the biggest thing is when I met him is him adopting people. Your people skills are second to none, and you've developed people within your organization and really empowered them. And every time I meet them, they're just, the energy in there is crazy. If you're in the Tampa Bay area and you ever get a chance to meet Nick or Omar and have them give you a tour, the energy's insane.
Yeah, well, I think that's a reflection of our company culture, and it sounds so cliche because it gets talked about so much in business conferences and books, but I really did become a very intentional student of entrepreneurship, started reading books, listening to podcasts like these or radio shows, going to conferences, and really subscribed to the notion that a company culture matters, that, with the internal brand experience for your team members helps reflect what is experienced on the outside. And so, before the last break, I was talking about what we learned coming through the recession, and we really became intentional on our company purpose and our core values coming out of that. Having read books like Good to Great by Jim Collins, which talks about, the difference between a good company and a great one is that good companies might have core values. The great ones live them every day and use them as a litmus test for who we hire and reward and recognize in our company, who we let go. And so we've been able to, over the years, intentionally create a culture where there is that energy and that vibrancy and that passion amongst our people, because people are the ones who build the businesses and build the systems and grow the vision into a reality. And it's not something that, as a founder, I can do on my own. And so we had to create a platform or an experience for team members to be able to make that a reality.
But you walk the talk. I mean, they encourage growth with everybody in your team, and you have a library of all your books.
I mentioned, one of our other core values is building leaders, and so the idea is, even at our front lines, the guys that are picking up the junk and hauling and moving the stuff, we want those individuals to feel like they learn more working for us than they did at any other school or job experience. Same with our call center agents that are answering the phones. We want to empower our team members to learn and grow and get better, so that it's not just about making money or doing more business, but it's also actually about impacting the people that we interact with on a daily basis, and then ultimately, from success comes significance, and as there's more margin, there's more mission, and so I think that's relevant for any business owner, is to have sort of that purpose beyond just making money, because if it's solely focused on the money, you can get very discouraged or disillusioned or try to shortcut the success, which never works out very well in the long term anyways.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a big student of the Walt Disney Company, right? And you touched on some things in the second segment where you talked about when you really got down into the business plan, you started saying, okay, what are our appearance standards going to be, right? What kind of shirts are we going to wear? What kind of, are we going to be clean shaven? Are we not? Those kind of things. And you're talking right now, obviously, about that company culture. How difficult or how easy has it been to maintain that culture as you've grown so quickly?
It's interesting. As we've gotten larger, it's become more easy because it's been such a point of emphasis that everybody believes in. We talk about our core values and our culture being shared by all, not just with all. And so, one of the slogans or quotes I heard recently was that on a good team, on a good team, the coaches hold the players accountable. On a great team, the players hold each other accountable. And I think to be world class, you have to start attracting people that will hold each other accountable to the standards of the company, the core values, the best practices, whatever it is that you lay out that you hope everyone will abide by. So, it was harder in the early days because we were trying to create that habit and that form those standards, and it was a lot of just reiterating and repetition and realizing there were some people we had to exit from the business because they weren't adding positivity or contributing in a way. But now today it's almost like a self-policing, self-governing system where team members recognize if somebody doesn't quite fit the culture or somebody's going to be a negative drawback from the organization.
Well, which is what happens at Disney. I mean, I've worked at Disney a couple times, and if you don't fit that culture, one way or another, you're not going to be there very long. Either by your own choice because you realize that company culture is not for you, or it's going to be pretty clear to the people around you that you're not one of them, and they're going to see you on your way out. And that's incredibly important because again, it's about that mission, right?
Right.
And what's driving everybody towards the common goal. Dean, you were talking a little bit about, I made the reference to the UM and the colors and you saying, you were telling me that wasn't, by accident.
What?
The colors for the logo.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was the University of Miami was.
Yeah. Omar won the business plan competition as a senior at University of Miami.
Yeah. They went to University of Miami.
Yep.
Awesome.
And but now we tell people, I was joking during the break, our orange is our playful brand and culture. Our green is environmentally friendly recycling and hauling practices, because not everybody likes the Hurricanes. But from a branding perspective, they're a small school, but their brand is widely known as an athletic brand. And so we felt like the colors, we needed to stand out. And so there was some there was some relevance to the fact that we won the business plan there, but really the colors stand out. You can't miss those orange and green trucks.
Well, it doesn't help that the biggest movie star on planet Earth is also a hurricane in Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The Rock, that's right.
You ought to get him to be a spokesperson.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, he's a hunk, right?
He's a hunk.
But it's funny about the word hunks. So everybody always asks, hey, how do you hire? Are they all really hunks? We actually came up about 2 or 3 years into the business, an acronym where we redefine the word hunks. We say it stands for honest, uniformed, nice, knowledgeable service, which spans beyond just brawn and physical attributes. But the idea there is that that became our brand promise. Mm-hmm. So now when a client calls us, we say, what do you expect? Well, we expect honest, uniform, nice, knowledgeable service. And in an industry that still has a lot of mediocrity kind of throughout it, if we can elevate that layer of client expectation and experience, then we can rely on that repeat referral and reputation online.
Well, Johnny, that's not the true story. The true story is it used to be hunks, and I applied for a job there, and they wouldn't give me a job, and they had to change the format.
There you go. Yeah. So now Dean qualifies.
Now I can go to work there.
There you go. Well, and again, in kind of the Starbucks model, I mean, you guys didn't invent the hauling junk industry or the moving industry. You guys are improving on it, right? Mm-hmm. And how did you determine where that room for improvement was?
I think a lot of it boils down to service experience and consistency of service experience, which is so critical, especially in franchising, because if you walk into a McDonald's in one city versus the other, you expect it to be the consistent experience. Now, McDonald's doesn't make the best hamburger in America, but they might make the most consistently, call it average hamburger that you can come to expect, and you get it quickly, and it's going to be the same no matter what store you're in. So for us, it was a lot about consistency. No matter what team or what location was getting their stuff moved or stuff hauled away, they could come to expect a level of service that is above what they had maybe previously received. Now, I can't do it 100% of the time, but that's what we strive for.
Sure.
And if we do it way more than not, then that's how we win.
Well, and again, I've mentioned a little bit about the legacy companies in your industry, but it's also a legacy industry that really hasn't changed a lot. So it's kind of ripe for disruption, right?
It is. I mean, any business where things have been done the same way for a long time is ripe for opportunity. Yeah. And again, for us, it was, what are people expecting, and what can we do to raise the level of experience? In our business, it's very simple. At the front lines, if we provide a better experience than their alternatives, than the client's alternatives, we win. Now, on the back end, it's a lot more complex than that. We've got technology, we've got marketing strategies, we've got our call center, we've got systems and scale to try to do things more efficiently or effectively or improve our margins. But at the franchise frontline level, we try to make it very simple, and it's all about that client-facing experience.
Well, joining us here at the Adjunct CEO Show is Nick Friedman, owner, founder of College Hunks, Calling Junk, which is a bit of a mouthful, but we'll get through it. We got one more segment with Nick coming up, but, I'm loving this story, and I'm loving this conversation. So stick around for the next segment. AdjunctCEO.com is our website. We'll be right back after this.
The Adjunct CEO Show will be right back to help more CEOs and business startups.
Growth begins by understanding where you are now. For a limited time, business growth experts at Adjunct CEO will provide a full CEO physical of your business valued at $10,000 for free. Email CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com. This offer includes financial, marketing, and sales analysis and an outline to help you strategize future success. For your free CEO Physical, email CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com. CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com. Growth begins by understanding where you are now. For a limited time, business growth experts at Adjunct CEO will provide a full CEO physical of your business valued at $10,000 for free. Email CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com. This offer includes financial, marketing, and sales analysis and an outline to help you strategize future success. For your free CEO Physical, email CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com. CEO Physical at AdjunctCEO.com.
Helping your business grow and succeed in today's marketplace. Let's get back to the Adjunct CEO Show.
Welcome back to the Adjunct CEO Show at adjunctceo.com. Again, our website, adjunctceo.com. You can also reach out to us directly, help at adjunctceo.com. That's help at adjunctceo.com. We've had an amazing guest for the past few segments, and he's going to help us wrap this show up with another amazing segment. It's Nick Friedman, owner, founder of College Hunks, hauling junk. And give us your website.
Sure. collegehunks.haulingjunk.com. Really simple.
Doesn't get any easier than that.
How'd you come up with that website?
And, of course, our adjunct CEO, Dean Akers.
Thanks, Johnny. What a privilege to have you on today. It's so cool to have successful entrepreneurs on and help our listeners. One of the things we were talking about earlier today is after you read the E-Myth, and so now you quit touching the knobs and you start really growing, how important is it to find a peer organization type thing where you can flock with peers that can hold you accountable, can have experiences? How important is that? And give me some examples of what you're in.
Oh, it's critical. It's critical. I mean, when we first started our business, I read an article about an organization called the Entrepreneurs Organization, EO. And it was for founder owners of companies that do at least $1 million in revenue or greater. Now, at the time, we weren't doing that revenue, but it seemed like a great target to shoot for, so I could become a part of this kind of elite organization of other eagles that were growing, high-flying organizations. I joined that and was extremely valuable to be surrounded by, other like-minded entrepreneurs that were in maybe completely different industries, but dealing with the same type of issues we were, whether it was people, marketing, competition, finance, whatever the case may be. But having a sounding board or a peer of almost your own personal board of advisors that you could call on and ask questions about. So over the years, I've gotten a ton of value from that. I'm also a member of the Young Entrepreneurship Council, something called YEC. And then more recently, I joined YPO, Young Presidents Organization, which is actually for larger organizations that have to have, 13 million or greater in revenue, 50 employees or higher. So we're actually probably one of the smaller companies in that organization. There's some really big businesses there. But, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, a lot of times it feels a little bit lonely. You feel like you're on an island because, you can't necessarily speak to your spouses or friends from high school or college or other friends, their family, because they may not have lived it or experienced what this whole entrepreneurial journey is like. So, use the analogy at the start of the show about, head coach or the fitness checkups that you do. There's so many similarities of people that have, fitness goals that maybe go out and join a gym and get personal trainers and go get workout groups because they want to achieve those goals. If somebody's in a business as an owner, going out and surrounding yourselves with other people that are doing the same thing, whether it's coaches as mentors or peers in groups such as that. And I know you're familiar with the CEO Council here in Tampa, which is a really prolific group here locally. It just makes a world of difference, because now you don't feel like you're alone. You don't feel like you're by yourself trying to figure it all out. You've got other people that have done it or dealt with similar experiences or are going to be at some point dealing with the same thing as well.
Yeah, when I was a young man his age, the CEO Council was actually started by Xerox and some people that were using to get to us CEOs. And I was a young guy with my tire company, and we started it. Now there's 250 of them. I think 6-7 billion in sales here just locally. Wow. And the thing about it is, it's a place where you can go and you can scream. You can talk about cash flow. You can talk about raising capital. Speaking of that, you have another business and you just been growing it, and you've done your first formal capital raise, right?
Yes. So we just closed our Series A round of funding for a company we're calling Trash Butler, which is a very niche business-to-business service for apartment complexes and housing associations, where we actually provide a doorstep trash pickup service 5 nights a week at the doorstep of each of the apartment units, taking it to the on-site compactor or dumpster. So we raised that round through Florida Funders, which is a local PE venture fund here based in Tampa. And we didn't know anything about raising capital because we had never done that before. With College Hunks, we bootstrapped it. We grew it organically. So it actually was my relationships in some of those peer groups that allowed me to learn how to structure a deal, what to ask for, how to pitch, go out on these investor pitches and ask for investment. And to be honest with you, the reason we raised capital for that business wasn't because we necessarily needed the money. We could have gone to banks more traditionally or try to invest in it ourselves. We were looking for what I call strategic capital. Folks that could, perhaps bring some introductions, bring some relationships. I mean, we still have to run the business. We still have to do the heavy lifting. But the relationship with the investors that are all participated in that round really could elevate the opportunities for the business. If we have a question, we can fire it out to the investor network, and they can provide resources, introductions, suggestions, recommendations that maybe we wouldn't have had otherwise. So that's just kind of a new path we've started down. And now I will advise for the listeners, as an entrepreneur, we tend to sometimes have a big shiny object syndrome. We want to chase the new shiny idea every time it pops up because, we're creators, we're innovators from time to time. I would say don't start chasing the different shiny objects until at least your core business is to a certain level of growth, and you've got leadership team and management team in place to execute it. Because in the early days, we did make the mistake of taking our eye off the ball and chasing new different ideas. And the only thing that suffered was the core business, because then you're going a mile wide and an inch deep on a whole bunch of different ideas, and nothing is going to really materialize. Because for a business to really take off, it's got to take intention and focus.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I work with entrepreneurs all the time. And my biggest analogy, we used to have a ranch. And we'd drive up to the ranch, and the stupid cows, we had 2,500 head of cattle, and they would have their necks almost breaking their neck to eat through the fence, to eat the grass on the other side, and they were standing knee deep in grass. And I see that with entrepreneurs all the time. To your point, they'll get going, and then all of a sudden they want to eat on the other side of the fence, and there's so much grass still in the fence. I loved your thing, and I made a note of it, was about the whale. And you should just, I'm actually going to put that up, because that's so spot on. So many people worry about everything, and you're like a fly on a whale.
Yes.
And if they would just do that with their core business, they probably could have $200-300 million business and still be a fly on the whale.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think the biggest example of this, at least for me, again, working in the marketing and digital space, was what we saw happen with Foursquare. Foursquare was an incredibly popular app, had a lot of use, right? Businesses had all jumped on it, and they were giving stuff, to whoever the mayor of their business was, and everybody had really bought into the culture of what Foursquare meant. And then they shifted to try to be like this business directory and moved what made Foursquare successful into another app, and it just completely ended up destroying both companies because they moved away from what their core business was, and they got distracted by the shiny new object, which what they thought was this business directory.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I mean, I joked about the Shark Tank experience. We were pitching a sister company. We were going to call it College Foxes Packing Boxes.
I remember that show.
Surprisingly, Robert made an offer for the investment, but wanted equity in College Hunks, so we ended up turning it down. We even tried to do some stuff with the College Foxes idea. It didn't work. It was a distraction.
Yeah.
Should have just stayed focused on the College Hunks business, which ultimately we did. But I think it's key for entrepreneurs, especially when they're in growth mode, to stay focused and keep doing what's working.
So was the moving aspect, and helping people relocate and that sort of thing, was that always part of the original business, or was it just junk?
So actually, when we did start, we were purely hauling people's junk away for a fee. And then coming out of the recession, we realized we need a larger piece of opportunity to be able to offer. And at the end of the day, we asked ourselves, is our core business junk removal, or is our core business trucks and labor? Because people were asking us to move them all the time. We were turning it away. And so we said, ultimately, look, the moving industry, to use the whale analogy, is probably a bigger whale. Junk removal is a component of that. Maybe the baby whale swimming alongside of it. So if we can offer both junk and moving, when people are moving, they need junk hauled away. It's like people buying a hamburger and wanting French fries with it.
Sure.
They complement each other, and ultimately it's sort of the same labor resources, the same assets that we're leveraging. So we came out of the recession with that strategy in mind, and now moving is more, if not at least 50% of our overall revenue.
And so, of course, College Hunks, kind of a moving train now, right? Where it's kind of self-sufficient. I mean, what's your projection looking like?
So our vision, as I mentioned, we got about 115 franchises today, just did over $100 million in revenue. The next 3 years, we want to have over 200 franchisees. We feel we should be able to do close to $250 million in system-wide revenue just with College Hunks. And so it's just continued 30-40% annual growth, which is increasing our number of franchise owners and increasing our franchise owners' revenue within their markets. Because even as widely known as our brand is in markets like Tampa, where people see the trucks everywhere, we go into some of our franchise markets and the brand awareness just isn't there. So, the opportunity is just ripe for us to continue to grow. Now we have to continue to stay ahead of the curves with technology and marketing, and make sure we don't get disrupted ourselves, like the taxi cab or the blockbuster videos.
Sure.
But the business is at a great place right now. We just want to keep continuing to see our vision manifest.
Dean, any parting words?
No, Nick, I always appreciate talking to you. You get me energized, so I'm going to carry my 67-year-old body out of here today, all energized up. And you're just such a rock star, you and Omar, and you're such a blessing for the Tampa community.
Well, no, I appreciate it. Thank you guys, what you guys are doing to, help improve and inspire and support other entrepreneurs. And, Dean, obviously, you've always been a great mentor for us. So grateful for the support and guidance you've given us over the years as well. So anything I can do to help give back to the community, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, Nick's big suggestion here for the show was the book E-Myth Revisited. Just wanted to mention that one more time. But again, if you want help from our adjunct CEO, Dean Akers, emails help@adjunctceo.com, help@adjunctceo.com. You can also find us at the website, adjunctceo.com. That's it for another show. See you next time, Dean.
See you later. Thanks again, Nick.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adjunct CEO Show, helping businesses and CEOs succeed in today's marketplace. To help your business grow and succeed, email us help@adjunctceo.com or visit our website, www.adjunctceo.com. Join us again next week for the Adjunct CEO Show.
AM 1380, The Biz, WWMI, St. Petersburg, the Wall Street Business Network. Online at am1380thebiz.com.